maybe let me step back again about your previous question about this products and everything. I think from the business point of view, I think we have a very simple. People will buy the product. People will use it, as long as it's efficient, as long as it's costly, as long as it benefits the company. And unfortunately, I think the perception from the business community now, Islamic products is more expensive than the conventional. So that's what you touch base on, that the education, because it's only 5% of the total Islamic in Indonesia. You're talking about conventional bank is about 6,000 trillion rupiah assets, and then Islamic bank is not more than 300 trillion. So I think from the business point of view, I see it very simple. If it's cheaper, it's more easier, and then it gives us benefit, whatever the name is. I think business people is very easy to adapt to the names. Who knows about the name Candy Crusher, and suddenly you got 100 million subscriber. Candy Crusher, what it is. So I think that's. I just want to tell you about that first. Second, regarding this regulation, again, I think the government, I think OJK is really pushing on this, but unfortunately, we don't hear it. Maybe Pa Harry or Pa Andy, who is involved in this, hear it, but not from the business community. Okay. So again, it's regarding how are we going to sell it, and unfortunately, we are not very good in selling things. I mean, look at tourism. Indonesia is so good, but somehow we lose the view from where you're staying, in Malaysia. So I think that's one thing which maybe IFTC can help us, and then you can use Kadin to sell this, and we can work with all the Sharia banks, because at the end of the day, if it's cheaper, efficient, whatever the name, it sells.
Well, thanks for that. I'm not going to get diverted by Candy Crush, because I'm constantly bombarded, as I'm sure all of you are, saying, please join, and I usually delete or send it away. But it is simple. I mean, it's interesting, if I can draw an analogy, which is not related to Islamic finance, but by getting things moving. In certain markets, and I'll look at Korea, where I was stationed from 2000 to 2002, in 2000, online trading represented less than 1% of the market. By the time I left in 2002, 98% of the market was online trading. And that was largely through social media interaction and communication, and simply explaining what it was about, and everybody was doing it at home. So it is a communication and awareness issue. Harry, your comments on this about, somewhat aware or absolutely no idea, do you agree with what Emma Shah has said?
Yeah, because in terms of trade finance, and okay, let me start with the regulations related with trade finance. I think the government and central bank OJK is very clear with this, although not I can say that it's heavily regulated, but in the trade finance, most of the area already covered. But for certain this is on the certain points with regards to the Islamic trade finance. Maybe there are always room for improvement. Like for example, okay, let me take this example because it's a very gray, I can call it gray area in a certain jurisdiction of the Islamic trade finance. Let's take for example hedging. In Indonesia, if it is forward, it can be done. It's approved by the National Scholars Board. But in certain other jurisdiction, it cannot be done because they are seeing this is not comply or okay. So it's different from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But if we relate this with our regulations on the currency, on the using of the local currency, then it will make a potential issues, because for enable the liquidity coming, and if it has to be converted into the local currency, well, actually, this is at the end of the spectrum of the transaction. There is always a hedging risk. Then it will become issues, because hedging will become a key. You mentioned also about the risk mitigation in the trade finance. Yeah. So maybe this kind of area still area to be improved. But I always believe, like Pak Emir said, OJK and central bank always very supportive with the growth of trade finance. It's only a matter of tweaking the regulation, I believe.
I mean, I think you raised a particular issue there, and that this is not the forum to discuss, hedging and the validity of looking forward. But in terms of operating on a global basis, then forms of Sharia-compliant risk mitigation are both legitimate and needed. Otherwise, we're going to be constrained in terms of what we could do in terms of moving capital from one place to another in order to do the business that we need to do. So that's a challenge or a question that we need to park, and that's another day and another debate. I'm going to ask our final question on the polling, and I don't know whether you're getting fatigue through answering these questions, but there's only one more to go. So let's take a look at this. Do you expect Islamic finance and Islamic trade finance to grow in Indonesia? We're going to ask the panelists to respond to this by what could be done to grow it, but let's see what you feel. Is it this interesting combination of questions there? Visibility and accessibility. Okay, I think it's 1, 2, and 3. The 5 can confuse me slightly. 1, 2, or 3. Yes, it will grow. 2, no, it will decline. 3, it'll remain stagnant at the same level. So 1, 2, or 3, please. Okay, so an optimistic view, 76% plus are saying it will grow. Oh, we lost it there. Let me go over here. Only 1.5%, or 1.4 to be exact, think it will decline, and 22% will think it will remain pretty much the same. It's encouraging. What we need to think about is how do we move the 22.5% to be a little bit more optimistic, and the 1.4% who are very pessimistic about this. What do we have to do, gentlemen, brothers, in order to change this? And I'm going to start with the CEO first, because you've probably got the most, I won't say control, but influence in changing the situation.
Thank you. I'm very happy to see that people really very optimistic that the growth of Islamic finance and trade finance will grow and will continue to grow. This is a very natural, I think, result, because we are here in the largest, as I said, Islamic country. I'm sure that also Islam came here with the traders. So trade had also a big role in bringing Islam to Indonesia. And alhamdulillah, I think this is why people are optimistic, because they believe in Islamic banking, and they believe that it really can, because it is actually a product or tools or systems that really touches, at the end of the day, the people through the major, I would say, pillars of the Islamic finance, depending on integrity and ethics and asset-based. We are dealing with real financing, so I'm very optimistic. ITFC, in also cooperations with our sister organizations, especially ICIEC, and I would like to take this opportunity to also welcome His Excellency, Mr. Osama Al-Qaisi, the new CEO of ICIEC. I'm sure we will develop products to make sure that the Islamic banking in Indonesia will increase and grow. We will work closely, as mentioned, with our colleagues here in the financial institutions to really make sure that the Islamic finance will grow in Indonesia. That's why also, as I said this morning, we have a very, very good office here. yes, it is now, we have just started, and they are now formulating the strategy of growing the business in Indonesia. And I'm sure that this office, not too long before we see really a large presence of ITFC and the other groups members into in Indonesia. So I'm very, very optimistic, really, to say that yes, this reflects exactly what I was expecting, and hopefully we will definitely, in a few years down the road, we'll come back again and say we have done it, but we need to do it together and to work and cooperate actually with our colleagues here in Indonesia, whom we have the same actually mutual objective, is to develop people and to bring prosperity to the society and also development in Indonesia as a whole. This is what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Now, audience, I'm going to put you on notice that we're going to turn to you for questions in about 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes. So get your questions prepared and we'll try and field as many as possible. But I just want to run down the panelists and very succinctly, so a sentence, no more than a sentence in terms of response to this survey. Do you share the optimism? Or what what is it that needs to be done? What's the silver bullet? What's the area where we need to put effort into in Indonesia to change this and move the 76 up to closer to 100? So I'm just going to go down the line. So Emir Shah, very briefly, and then we'll get audience questions.
Well, my simple reply, 87% of Indonesian population is Islam, Muslim. So there is basically. It will grow. It will grow. I think the challenge that we face is what we discussed about how to sell it and then how to make people basically know that this is a product which is innovative, which is can be efficient, can help you. And if you look at the statistics, if you go 2010, accounts in the Sharia banks was only about 6 million. 2015 is already 18 million, so it's about 3 times. So I think it will grow, and I'm quite convinced that it will grow, and I have full belief in it.
Excellent. Harry, final comment before we unleash the questions.
My simple comment: if we want to double or triple the market share of Sharia in Indonesia, we have to move the growth of the portfolio of the Islamic finance in Indonesia from the mostly retail at the moment into trade finance. But this cannot be done by these 5% players. It has to be done by us globally, of course with the collaborations with all the institutions to making this happen.
Excellent. I'll let you comment on that briefly because that's really a challenge for you, sir.
Yes, I fully agree with you, and I think this is where we have to work. We start also working with this esteemed bank, but I want to say that also Indonesia has a very unique, status here. Unlike other countries, we have seen that the Islamic banking growth actually is coming from a very important community-based initiatives. Talking about the Islamic rural, banks, talking about the retail sukuk, talking about the Hajj funds, talking about all of this. That gives you the specificity of this kind of a community that we should not really forget that. We should let them grow also more and more with that.
Yeah, excellent point. Pak Endi, just briefly, what needs to be done to move the barometer up to 100%?
Yeah, I think certainly a country like Indonesia, where we are now in the top 20 global economics in the world, and going forward, people's always predict that Indonesia will be in the top 10 economic in the world. Then I joined the Islamic banking industry about 2 years ago, and my bank, Bank Muamalat, is owned majoritarily by IDB. But when I look at the book that we have, the transaction we have, I said, where is it IDB? Where's the transaction from IDB? It's nothing, nowhere. But as mentioned by Brother Sonbul here, over a period of time, I think what's very important, IDB, ITFC, ICD, and all that. has to be the catalyst to bring the business, to create a global business interactions in the Sharia community. I think still lacking, but it's improving. But the opportunity to grow that is significant.
Thank you. Dr. Hamad, just briefly on
first
next
of all,
steps.
Dr. Dawood, I would like just to comment in maybe 1 or 2 sentences regarding this, and if you allow me just to go back to innovation. Not only the emotion support this result, also the numbers is as per Ernst & Young study that from 2010 to 2013, the growth in Islamic finance in Indonesia was 35%. And also as per Ernst & Young, it is expected to be 100 billion US dollar in 2018. So this is related to this result. But if you allow me just to comment in brief about the innovation. Mr. Hani mentioned really important point related to innovation in Islamic finance in general and in Islamic trade finance in particular. He mentioned that Murabaha was taking big part of the products. So I think not the issue, or I can say the challenge is starting from the mentality. So are we going to mimic the conventional banking, or we would like to start from our products, from our fiqh, from our history? So if you would like to just mimic, I think we will go more, not only murabaha, we will go more to tawarruq even, not only murabaha. Because even if you are looking for some statistics, what is the percentage of Islamic products, you will find murabaha or tawarruq now getting more and more because it's easier. It's more like the conventional product. So, for example, now in IUFI, now we are preparing 3 standards related to agriculture. We call it muzara'a, another 3 M's also. Muzara'a and musaqa and mugharasa. As our IUFI methodology, we are not only going to traditional fiqh, also we are going to talk about the practice. So it was very big challenge. We were in touch with Malaysia, Indonesia, and also in Sudan to get some practice related to these 3 products. It was very small. It's agriculture countries, but if you are looking about Islamic finance, the practice in mugharasa and musaqa and muzara'a, it's very low because the majority of banks, they are going for tawarruq. So I think the solution is to start from the mentality, to change our mentality, to have the courage to take some risk in our financing products. I think this is related to innovation.
Thank you. Which just goes to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects us to change. The change comes from within. And I feel a little threatened that I've got another 3 M's to learn in the future. But thank you for that. Dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to have some questions. So if I can there's a show of hands. We'll try and accommodate everybody, but the gentleman over there towards the back, have we got microphones close by? If you just let us know who you are and what the question is. Okay. And I may need to wear headphones, so I guess I better come back up here.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Krishna Raga. I'm a business player in the infrastructure. Well, we heard there's a lack of communication, understanding about this one. But the good news that I heard that from Pa Emir that the Kadin will sign the agreement with ADB, because I think to minimize this weakness, the institution, ICD, who supply the funding, even the ITFC, should be here. So if you want to make a business, you must be near to the client. So we hope that the cooperation between Kadin and the ADB can solve that problem. So the accessibility from the businessman, especially for the local, could be more smoother. So that is maybe, maybe it's too early, maybe you can give me some hint how you're going to make this Kadin and ADB will be more effective, that we as a member of the Kadin can get the benefit this one. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's a question for you, but and also perhaps for Hani as well to respond in terms of getting closer to the IDB.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I think it gives. I think Kadin, we're quite honored. On the 19th, IDB will sign an MOU with Kadin. This coming 19th. Basically, it will cover. First, I think what Daud you just mentioned is about capacity building and training about this Islamic financing, and then also about coordination to promote this thing, the Islamic financing, and also the most important also is jointly to conduct these kind of seminars and workshops. So hopefully we can do it not only in Jakarta, we can do it because we're in 34 provinces. So we have 187 associations under us. So that would be quite good. And last but not least is basically we will work together with ICD, ITFC, and ICIEC. Basically, what can be done. So in fact, I was just whispering to Harry here because I know he's already worked with ITFC, and I think we've got to find something. Let's find some low-hanging fruits which we can really work together. And we promote this as to the business community. Then once we do that, instead of doing big things, let's start with the small things, which is the low-hanging fruits.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm going to get some more questions from the audience, but clearly there's a good relationship between the IDB and its subsidiary and what's happening here. So let that may continue. There were some other hands, and as usual, I'm going to come down here because it's actually easier to see the hands than lights there. There was a gentleman back there, and who else? We'll take a couple more. There's a gentleman in the front, and I'm going to take, and there's a gentleman there. So let's do that. And there's a lady over there. So let's take those, and we'll see what we can do. Your name, where you're from, and hopefully it's a brief question, please, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. اسمي محمد الزكريوي من موالد المغرب أسكن في اليابان من أكثر من 40 سنة و أتكلم بالعربي ولا بالإنجليزي؟ Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Sakrewi. I am the president of a group which is developing. I'm from Morocco. I've been in Japan for 40 years. I work in the area of general trade in Japan. I work on two important subjects. The traditional industry, I have not seen any organization which grants importance to it, whereas traditional handicraft generates more than $360 million. Since 1987, we have been with a global organization which deals with handicraft. I'm a Muslim and based in Japan. I'm in a world where there is comparison between those actors or stakeholders who do not have the means and they are not heard. Today, even in the African mountains, you will find Japanese cars. Here in your country, in Indonesia, more than 80% of the vehicles are from Japan. Where are the Islamic products? We should pool our efforts so that Islamic products are exported to the Muslim countries and to other countries. These are the two questions I wanted to raise. After the earthquake I established a handicraft center. We have done the same thing in Paris. I wanted to get in touch with the Islamic Bank at the time, but unfortunately, IDB could not finance the private sector. I am happy to know that there is an entity which deals with the private sector financing at the IDB. 10 years ago, I participated in a meeting in Kuwait on Islamic financing.
We just
Yes,
I think we've got your two.
We have taken note of your two questions. Since you are a financing institution, well, I am observing that the problem of coordination and monitoring in the Muslim world is very important. We should encourage coordination, monitoring, and evaluation. Well, Indonesia is a member of this important project. I thank you.
There were two questions there. I think the first one is about better coordination, which I think you can probably answer briefly. But the second one was to do with an issue which has, I think, been raised globally, is about, where are the Islamic products, where are the major Islamic corporations, what has to be done to raise that profile, in terms of global brand names. And I think he has a fair point that, the majority of cars are either Japanese or German or Korean. Where are the Islamic brands coming from? Honey, do you want to have a stab on that?
Yes.
I think the first one is probably easier for you, but the second one is a big challenge for us.
The first one is actually, he was talking about mostly of how do we finance these SMEs in another way. Well, I'm not talking in particular, but we do, of course, as I said, it's SMEs is in the heart of the our development programs in the bank, and especially in ITFC we extend lines also to local banks in member countries where they can really support the activities and the needs of the SMEs. And I think this is, of course, for the second part, I think, yes, we do need to increase our really branding. I feel now maybe a very important sector, which is the halal industry sector, now is taking also its place in the agenda, and we are trying also in the group to really formulate a strategy for the halal industry and see that, because now, as you can see, this very promising industry is really handled by a non-Muslim more than actually the Muslim countries themselves. It's in the billions in the US and in Europe dollars. So we really agree with you that we should really also focus on really branding our products and to promote this kind of an industry as well.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm been told by the organisers that I'm afraid we've run out of time for questions and we need to go into a wrap-up now, so my apologies for that. I was hoping we get some more questions. I'm certainly going to be around, and I'm sure the others will be, if you want to grab us and fire a quick question, and my apologies for not being able to go further on that. I've just got a couple of things to do before I ask for your recognition of the panelists. The first thing is to just summarize very, very briefly that through using you as to answer the questions, we've had a very stimulating discussion, and we've got some interesting facts. And basically, there's some optimism about growing Islamic finance and Islamic trade finance in Indonesia. There is work to be done on creating further awareness and familiarity with the products, and I think this is not an exception. I think everywhere in the world there is a great deal that needs to be done, and I draw you back to my opening presentation on the need for education to change perceptions, and that in turn has a knock-on effect in terms of liquidity, in terms of the business that is done. So I think this has been a stimulating discussion, and I thank the audience for their forbearance and and also for participating in the polling. And my thanks to every one of the panelists for not only giving up their time, but for sharing their experience with them. And on behalf of them, I would like to thank you. And before I ask for a round of applause, any shortcomings, maaf ka saya.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very enlightening moment, so therefore we would like to welcome Mr. or Engineer Hani Salim Sonbol to give away all the souvenirs that already prepared for all the panelists. Okay?
Am I getting one?
Okay. So, no. You're the one who will give all the souvenirs to all the panelists. So, gentlemen, please stand up and get your position. And there will be a group photo session for later. So we would like to welcome Mr. Hani Salam Sonbol to give away the... okay, call the name. Okay, first, well, Mr. Daud Vikri Abdullah also. And then, certainly, Pak Emir. Again, next we have Mr. Emir Shah Shatar. Yeah, we also know as Pak Emir, right? And if I'm not mistaken, next is Mr. Heri Hikmanto, is it? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, give your best smile to the camera. And then Mr. Heri Hikmanto. And last but not least, we have Dr. Hamed Merah, Secretary General AAOIFI. Doctor, please step forward. And then after this, we're going to do a group photo session. All the gentlemen are curious with the gift. We don't know either what it is. So, can you open up? Something is magical happening there. See? Nice. Give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And also, take a picture first. Take a picture first. Yes. And also, we have an announcement that we still have 10. Open it up, okay. So, Mr. Emir has always an initiative to have a post. There you go. Thank you very much. This is the best moment of the day. Thank you very much. Okay, give a warm welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. All the gentlemen, you are very welcome back to your seats. And we have an information that we still have 10 polling devices missing. Please, ladies and gentlemen, return it to the box over there. People there are waiting for 10 polling devices missing. And it's already 1:40, I guess. And we will have a lunch and a Zuhur prayer break for 1 hour. Ladies and gentlemen, only 1 hour. So we're going to back here at 1:40. 1:40, I assume. And we shall convene here at 1:40 to... yes, guys? 1:40, yes. At 1:40, we'll be back here to do the next panel discussion entitled Islamic Trade. Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. Entitled Attracting Investment into the Infrastructure Sector. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your lunch and I'll see you in 1 hour. Thank you very much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please return your polling devices. Everyone, whoever still holding the polling devices, please return back to the boxes.
sama permen-permennya ya Mas.